Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Monday, the 20th of September 2021, and we're producing our gold and silver morning update and price forecast. Gold and silver prices plummeted last week, and we're now all awaiting the Fed FOMC statement and press conference due on Wednesday. Meanwhile, gold and silver have staged a very modest recovery this morning, and we do mean very modest. But for how long will it be able to do so? We produced some videos over the weekend where we've given our price forecasts for this week, and we place links to these below. So let's take a look as to what's happening this morning and what we may be able to expect in the next couple of days. Welcome to Illuminati Silver. It's Monday, 20th of September 2021, 09:48 AM GMT +1. The skies are clear. The sun is out. We have wonderfully warm rays raining upon us. What more could we ask? But it's a shame that there are very few sunlight rays in the news this morning. Main headline for Bloomberg: the global housing market is broken and it's dividing entire countries. We also see UK house prices stabilise as new listings to sell jump 14%. And we see energy chaos adds to inflation angst for Europe's policymakers, and stocks slump amid Fed China risks. And we'll have a look at that one in more depth. But first, very quickly, UK house prices stabilise. The UK housing boom is showing signs of stabilising, with a 14% increase in the number of properties listed for sale in the first 2 weeks of September. Of course, because now people are allowed out of their homes and in public spaces, people are now starting to sell their properties, which there has been little evidence of over the past 2 years. But this is what we want to look at specifically. Stock slump. Stocks in Europe plunged and US equity futures declined at the start of a week, abounding with risks, including spillover from China Evergrande Group's debt woes, falling commodity prices and the Federal Reserve policy meeting. Now, this Evergrande situation is very poignant, but it does seem to us to be an area which the markets have decided to use as the excuse to go lower, even though we have been saying for a little while to expect markets to go lower. And they have pitched, in some regards rightly so, but they have pitched this as the key determinant of why markets should fall. The Stocks Europe 600 index dropped 1.6%, on track for the biggest decline in 2 months. Raw materials led the broad-based retreat as iron ore extended a slump below $100 a tonne after China stepped up restrictions on industrial activity. Base metals, including copper, also fell as the dollar rose before Wednesday's Fed meeting, where policymakers are expected to start laying the groundwork for paring stimulus. And of course, we have mentioned this time and time again, and over the weekend have produced numerous videos. Aside from Evergrande and the prospect of reduced Fed stimulus, financial markets also face risks from uncertainty over the outlook for President Joe Biden's $4 trillion economic agenda, as well as the need to raise or suspend the US debt ceiling. Investors were already fretting over a slowing global recovery from the pandemic and inflation stoked by commodity prices. Now, we have to say Janet Yellen has come out saying we need to raise the debt ceiling, or basically Armageddon will ensue, and we all know that ultimately Congress will do this, as it always has. So there's a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty and doubt being fed into the markets at the moment. Will Biden get his $4 trillion package through? We suspect eventually yes. Whether it's watered down further, I'm not sure, but quite frankly, we think that they're doing a little bit of overkill on the bad news, though markets need a correction, which is why we got out of the majority of our equities in our pension fund just over 6 weeks ago. The edges of the bullish narrative cover are being pulled, and the darker underlying reality is coming to fore, said Sebastian Gailey, a senior macro strategist at Nordea Investment Funds. It's taking the market more time to price in these shocks than I had expected, and the market is far more realistic as the buy-on-dip mentality fades with the fear of inflation. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said the US government will run out of money to pay its bills sometime in October. Without action on the debt ceiling, warning of economic catastrophe, I said Armageddon, unless lawmakers take the necessary steps. So that's where we're at. And if we look at Reuters, that's hit the big news. China Evergrande shares dived to 11-year low. Shares of Evergrande on Monday plunged to over 11-year lows, extending losses as executives try to salvage its business prospects and as default fears grow over a looming deadline for payment obligations this week. So that's where the attention is going to be focused upon. Okay, business news by the BBC. Rescue loans for energy firms urged in crisis talks. That's because, of course, what's happening with gas prices. UK energy company seeks funds to stay afloat. Embattled China property giant sparks economy fears. Prezzo gives staff pay rise and Boxing Day off. That's nice. US CO2 firm boss flies to UK for crisis gas talks. Perhaps he should have walked rather than fly. United States. What do you need to know about Canada's election? Canadians are voting on Monday and Justin Trudeau's party faces a stiff challenge to retain power. Let us know if you think Trudeau will win or not. US flies Haitian migrants back from Texas border. And you've got the Emmy Awards. Okay. Oh, and this. Record-setting space tourists splash down on Earth. The 4 amateur astronauts landed safely in the Atlantic Ocean after 3 days orbiting the Earth. Nothing to do with the economy, quite frankly, but does give you an indication of where perhaps those with money might be spending it in the near future. And finally, police outnumber protesters at Capitol riots rally. And this is the rally on Saturday. A rally in support of jailed rioters draw a few hundred attendees, but more press and police. So what's happened? Dollar now well entrenched above 93. We stated last week and the week before to expect it to go back up to 93. It's not only reaching that figure, but extending beyond it. Can it reach 94? It is indeed possible. A lot really depends on what the Fed says on Wednesday. Energy prices obviously down because of the strength of the dollar to some degree. So we got WTI down $1.21 and Brent crude down $1.02. Equity markets. Now last week, the US markets closed down between 0.5% and 1%. Overnight, Asia Pacific actually have recovered a little and are broadly, apart from the Hang Seng, broadly up 0.5%. But Europe and UK down between 1.3 and 2.1%. So we've taken quite a hit this morning. Economic data, what can we expect? Well, today we have the National Association of Home Builders Index for September. Tomorrow, a little more important, building permits and housing starts and the current account for Q2. But the key, as we've highlighted over the weekend, and we'll show you the videos in a second, the FOMC statement and the Fed Chair Jerome Powell, then supported by the market manufacturing and services flash PMIs on Thursday, plus the jobless claims reports. So a lot to look forward to. What's happened to gold this morning? Well, look at this chart very quickly. Hope you can see it. I'll try and enlarge it slightly. Gold fell straight away, as we suspected it might, but it has staged a recovery and is currently up $1. Not earth-shattering, but if you consider that it's been as low as 1743 at one point this morning, you can see now that it's quite a sharp recovery in dollar terms. Silver, similarly, that's up. I don't know where that little peak came from on a Sunday. I'm not sure how that's happened. But anyway, went down, recovered, big fall, and now a recovery, up 10 cents as we speak. So, over the weekend, we produced some what we regard as very important videos. Last week, why did silver collapse today? But over the weekend, our weekly update, why gold and silver may have further to fall. Don't miss that one. And Sunday, gold and silver sinks. Wednesday is the big day, which is a similar video to our weekly update, but a slightly different introduction and a few points added. That's it for now. Have a great day. As I've said, it is absolutely glorious outside where we are. We intend to spend the day walking in the grounds. Until our next video, stay safe, stay prosperous. And please don't forget that thumbs up, subscribe, and press the bell sign. Illuminati silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management, and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice and merely represent the personal views of its owners.